I got an email from someone yesterday, and she said that she was in the middle of work, and I know that she has a very stressful job. It's really stressful and difficult, but interesting. She said she was in the middle of, in the afternoon and working, and she said everything was, just it's rather hectic, and she said suddenly, she said, I couldn't understand. She said, I felt very quiet. She said, I had this calm inside. She said, what? She said, what's going on? And then she realized that she had sat for 45 minutes here. And so she said, it was awesome. That was her word. It was awesome to connect the fact that she was sitting with us for 45 minutes and calm in the afternoon. I liked that a lot. That was very good. Should it happen to the rest of us, right? May it happen to the rest of them. So I wanted to share a couple of stories. This is sort of like, Travis, you can leave because you heard this yesterday. Everyone who was in the intermediate course heard this yesterday. I shared with them one of my most brilliant insights that I've had in many years. I wanted to begin by sharing a poem by Auden. Some of you have heard this before. Poems are sort of like what is it in Mahayana Buddhism? There's this wonderful expression, don't confuse the finger pointing towards the moon, right? It's not, don't confuse the moon and the finger. And I've always thought that that's a wonderful description of beautiful poetry, right? It's not blatant, it's not blunt, it's not intellectual. So it's pointing towards something in a subtle way. Subtlety was never one of my strongest suits. And so this one is not subtle at all. It's one of the more blatant, in-your-face 4 lines that I have ever heard. And so I wanted to share it with you as a way to talk about my brilliant insight. And so I want to just kind of like apologize to everybody. This is very, very, this is really an extraordinary 4 lines. Auden said, I think I'll invite you, as I said, that you can sort of like say, well, do I agree with this? He said, we would rather be ruined than changed. Anybody kind of get behind that? We would rather be ruined. I mean, I just think it's startling. I mean, those, ever since I read that, I just thought, well, I love it, I hate it, right? I'm drawn towards it, no, I don't know. We would rather be ruined than changed. We would rather die in our dread than climb the cross of the moment and let our illusions die. Anybody attached to their illusion? So I think it's as I said, I have loved this for years, and I've read it in Dharma talks for years. And it's sort of like you say, oh, it's easy. It's easy, to just sort of let it kind of slide by, rather than just grabbing on it. So I had dinner with my dear friend Tom, who was here. He came down to sort of help me take my pills, which I've not been doing. I keep well, I skipped them. I forget. I think it's Monday and it's Tuesday. So anyway, he helped me do it. He's been great. So we were having dinner at the At Last Cafe. How many people have eaten at the At Last? It's really good. Beverly, isn't it good? It's surprising. I had a hamburger there, don't look that way, Lisa. I had a hamburger there about 10 years ago, just when the chef opened, and I said to him, I said, you know what? You're going to be very successful. And so it's a great restaurant. So I think they should give us a little money for that, right? Because I'm doing this advertising for the At Last Cafe. So I was having dinner with my friend, and so I've been thinking about Auden's poem. We would rather be ruined than changed. And so I just kind of like, right in the middle of the conversation, I just timed it rather perfectly. I said, well, Tom, would you like to be changed? Without any expression of, like change for the better, change for the worse, because that's our ego. The first thing it's going to say is, well, what do you mean by change, Victor, right? That the old ego will jump right in and say, well, let me analyze. What do you mean by change? So he just responded immediately. He said yes. I was quite surprised. I'm kind of impressed. He didn't think about it. He just said yes. And there's a lot of things about him that do not need to be changed. But he got in some deep level that maybe he experienced a resistance to change. And so I said to him, it occurs to me that there's no possibility of change without sacrifice. You just can't change without giving something up. Sacrifice is the price of the entry. And I said, perhaps it's really true that it is. The huge question would be, what do I have to sacrifice if I wanted to change, right? And God knows, we go back. He said, we're pretty much invested in not letting our illusions die. So when I said that, when I looked at him, I knew instantly what he would have to sacrifice. It was startling. I mean, I just felt it. I didn't tell him, by the way. I knew that, and then I thought, as I said to someone, I have a suspicion that your dearest friends, if you could surround yourself with 5 of your dearest friends, I have a suspicion every one of them would know what it is that you have to sacrifice. And I thought, I don't intend to surround myself with 5 people who know what I have to sacrifice. So, but I do think that change doesn't happen without some profound willingness to sacrifice. So, maybe you all can tell that. So this kind of talk comes from what we were talking about yesterday in the intermediate course, which was resistance, my favorite subject. I love resistance more than anything. And so I told this wonderful story about resistance, which I'm going to share with you all, and you'll probably laugh and make fun of me, but I don't care. So I was reading a Dharma teacher, from, I think, Forest Refuge, and it's a very, very good Dharma talk on resistance, and we use that talk as the assignment for people to listen to. And he actually said that he's asked the question, what is it we resist? And he said that he thought maybe what we really do is resist life, in just life, what it is. We resist its ups and downs and aches and pains and joys and pleasures and rewards and defeats. And so it was a very good talk, and more or less, I didn't have any objection with it. But my feeling, as I said to everybody yesterday, I think we resist change. I think it's just change that we resist. I mean, everything in us that resists, And I also think that it's because, that there is a profound fear of change. What is the illusion that you will cling to for dear life and will not let go, right? Why is it that I would die in my dread before I would be changed? It occurred to me that if I could tell you what it is, I would not. If I could tell you what your illusion is, or if you could tell me, I would not tell you, because everybody has got to figure it out for themselves, number one. And number two, if you thought it would not be right, because it would be a thought, right? It would be an intellectual thought. It's something that you know so profoundly in the soles of your feet. What is it that we would rather die in our dread than climb the cross of the moment and let our illusions die? What is that? So now I'm going to tell you, so resistance. I love resistance. It's my favorite subject. It is my favorite subject. I'm better at it than almost anybody I ever met. So when I was at the Forest Refuge, I was, we have yoga jobs. Everybody gets a yoga job. And you get it, right? I mean, you don't volunteer for it. You get it. You're given it. And they're extremely well planned out. It really, truly, if you go from 1 minute to 60 minutes in 1 hour, you pretty much finish the job. But you've got to work a little bit. I always pray I don't get the bathrooms. I just hate having to, do the toilets. And I'm so well liked. I usually get the cushy jobs. When I say well liked, I just mean, that I'm so charming and, everybody wants to give me a good job. So my favorite job in the past 2 or 3 times at the park has been the dishwasher. I just love it. It's actually the sterilizer. You're the sterilizer. You take the dishes at breakfast, right, and you stack them, and you put this in this huge machine. You pull this door down, and it goes up to 218 degrees. I mean, that sterilizes it, right? And it's hot, and you have to really, it's hard work, really. It's about an hour, just because you do them, and then you pull them out, and then you stack them, and then you bring them back, and people come. But what I really like about it is people bring their dirty things and they wash them, and so although we're in silence, everyone wants to get a smile from me, and they all get a smile from me. So, people come in their boat like this, and they look up, and I'm smiling. Very bad. If they really knew that at the Forest Refuge, they wouldn't let me be the dishwasher, I'm sure. So anyway, I discovered, after about 2 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks, I was exhausted. I mean, I would head for my room, right, at, let's see, this would be like at, say, 7:30 to, at 7 to 8 maybe. I would head for my room, and I was just like, oh my God. I couldn't wait to get there to my room to just open the door and fall in that little single bed, right, and just go right to sleep for about 10 minutes. And then I'd be kind of worried. But I mean, I was exhausted, just exhausted. So at some point, maybe like day 4, day 5, day 6, I started thinking, there's something but not right about this. I'm a little bit too tired, So I thought about it, and then it just kind of, all of a sudden it occurred to me, I wonder if there's like a problem of mindfulness here. Well, no, it was more subtle than that. It wasn't like that. It was like I was kind of like an intelligent, question. I wonder if maybe I'm not being mindful here. So that kind of crept in. So then I started thinking, I think I'm going to try to be more mindful as I do this. So I get the dishes and I put them in. But I thought, and so then I noticed that my eyes were burning, meaning that, I don't know if do your eyes burn when you get overly concentrated? Mine do. My eyes will burn if I'm, and then I started noticing that I'm just kind of like charging and doing this, so the energy's wrong. And so then I thought, what? And so it's funny because it came into the brain. We've been talking about ways to make more money for Long Beach meditation. So I had this brilliant idea some time ago that we should start teaching, mindfulness is so popular everywhere. It's my God. It is just, it is just the best thing in the world. So I thought maybe we could do a mindfulness workshop for local businesses. I thought that was a brilliant idea, Not that I would be willing to do it, but I thought someone would have to figure it out and do it. So then I'm thinking, so I have this idea. I thought, well, look at this picture. Here you are working, and you're just working your ass off for 1 hour, and you're worn out. Now maybe you can sort of like look at this and see, how would I put mindfulness into this 1 hour job? And I thought, well, if I figure that out, I can put that in our workshop and we'll make $1,000. That was wonderful. Ian and Norman would be thrilled. They're on our board. So then I decided to really put it, to really put my mind to it. And so how do you become mindful when you're working an hour for one solid hour? So then I think, one of the keys was I could feel a kind of an energy in my eyes. They were too intense. I thought, well, maybe I should close my eyes. I thought maybe that would help, It's a brilliant idea, isn't it? And so then I thought, well, I've got all these dishes here, right? And if I really close my eyes for any amount of time, I might, tear something up, which I have done many times. So I thought, well, so maybe I should have, and here comes your key word. I thought, maybe I should have a conscious blink. Just a conscious blink while I'm working. So, just a conscious blink. Have a conscious blink. I'm invite you to. You just have to, as you're looking at me, just have a conscious blink. Rather than having to stare at me, you have permission really to disappear and have a conscious. Well, so I did that, and I thought, wow, it kind of helped. It kind of broke some intensity. So I thought, okay, so maybe I should do this. It's like every 10 seconds or 20 seconds, I have a conscious blink. So I did that. I noticed that it was really helping me to become centered. Right? Not breathing in or breathing out, just closing, just having this conscious awareness of the eyes closing. And as I said, if you just do a blink, you can do that when you're talking to somebody, you don't have to really leave from them, right? You can still stay connected to them, and they're not going to be insulted if you close your eyes just like for a second or two. So it worked. By the time I got to my room at the end of the hour, I felt great. I thought, oh my God, I have invented something that is, it's like it's like since sliced bread, right? I mean, this is one of the most important inventions in the world. I started imagining the conscious blink. I already could imagine the Dharma talk. So then I would talk about, let's have it, Brad. You're going to do it on Wednesday night. So I had the conscious blink, right? So it'll go on the YouTube, the conscious blink. And then I thought, well, oh my God, this may be like a national movement, right? They might be able to put this into, workshops all over the country. Just have a conscious blink, right? Just conscious. You don't have to sit there and stare at Janine like that, act like you're interested in her. Just have a conscious blink. She's not going to even know it. So I was so excited I didn't know what to do. And it's like I said, I did think that, there were moments when I could imagine it would become like a national movement, right? Maybe. I thought Lisa might start introducing it to her classes at UC Irvine. And when you go to Washington, D.C., like with your colleagues, might say, have you ever thought about having a conscious blink? Right? Right? I mean, that's gonna really, people say, what do you mean by a conscious blink, right? Well, my teacher, Victor Byrd, blah, blah, blah. So you see, I really did start getting to the idea that maybe I could get well known for that too. So I couldn't wait till the next day. I was so excited. I couldn't wait. Oh my God, I've got it now, right? So the next day I would get to the dishwashing and so we have breakfast first, and so then everybody stacks their dishes, but even as I was having breakfast, it was a little bit difficult to really enjoy my breakfast because I couldn't wait to get in there and consciously blink. This is so sad. And it's like, really, you all are laughing, but you don't know what's really funny is that I'm your teacher. That's what's really funny. I mean, if you really got that down, you'd think, oh my God, how pathetic am I? He's my teacher. All right, so I get in there, right, and so I get to it, and so I can't wait. So the people come and stare at me, and so of course I smile a little bit. And I'm ready to consciously blink. And suddenly I heard this voice, I don't want to do that. I thought, what? What? I don't want to. So I found that shocking, right? It's like, I don't want to. And I thought, well, so for a moment, I just sort of didn't take it seriously. I didn't do it for this solid hour. I would not do it. Or he wouldn't do it, or it wouldn't do it. Whatever it was, and we would call that resistance. It had no interest in doing that. You're right, and so all of my great plans came to naught. So this was the seed of the class on Saturday when we talked about resistance. I was saying to everybody, resistance is this extraordinary profound force. Some of you remember the paper that I wrote on inertia, and I remember I think it was Newton's third law, I can't remember, but it said that any force that you push against an object, it will resist in exactly that same equal energy. So anyway, everybody thought that was very funny, and we had a very good time yesterday. So I've thought about it ever since then, I've had, these epiphanies before. One of my favorite epiphanies was when it was just mindfulness of breathing. I remember one time I had this awareness that, oh my God, if I just mindfully am aware of the in and out breath, I bet I would be enlightened. And then, like about 5 minutes later, I had this fear coming up. But what if I can't stop? I mean, really, can you imagine the arrogance of thinking, oh my God, what if I can't stop watching my breath? I mean, I really did, though. I thought, oh my God, maybe I'll never be able to stop it, watching my breath. So these epiphanies come and go. But that epiphany of if I just watch, if I just consciously blink for an hour, I will be relaxed and not tired when I finish. So I thought about it a lot, so this is what I have come to the conclusion on. The truth is, there's something in me that would be terrified of being mindful all the time, and I'm not aware of that. I mean, I was certainly aware of how wonderful it would be to be mindful for that hour, right? How wonderful it would be. And you go to a business or to a workshop and teach people to be mindful. How wonderful it would be to change your behavior, right? To alter your behavior, to improve your function. That's what we're all interested in, is improving our function. How many people are interested in change? Which means letting your illusions die. Well, it became very clear to me that I ain't very interested in it, right? I mean, I would have thought that I was very interested, but it became very clear to me that, and so in thinking about this, I put together one of the Buddha's more remarkable sentences, which I bet I've never really believed it. So I need to slow my brain down. So I realized that the truth is, I'm willing to be mindful for an hour. Not that we could be mindful, but I'm willing to be mindful for a period of time. And it will calm me down, it will make me centered, it will improve my work, it may improve your relationship with someone. But what about having the aspiration to be mindful for the rest of your life? How many are into that one? I mean, I say that sincerely, right? I mean, that's you. If you take that aspiration and you're going to feel that same little part of me that said, I don't want to. I promise you. Well, no, maybe you're more special than I am. But I think so, right? I think that the truth is, you go to a retreat for a weekend, or for an all-day retreat, and we practice mindfulness, and we're taught it, and it's quite wonderful that we are taught it. And as long as there's a discrete beginning and end, something inside will take it. Okay, oh my God, I've got to be mindful for 7 days. Right, but it's still there's an end, right? Some part of us knows. I can remember when my first 3 months retreat. I mean, I knew when the first week was over, the second week was over, right? I mean, there was some part that was tracking all the way through, and began to breathe easy towards the last, the third month. So here's what I wanted to suggest to you and I swear this is a little bit maybe. I'm not sure that I ever thought about this before. I think that the problem with mindfulness is that it is radical, and that it is not about changing your behavior. I think that's the problem with it. It's about changing your illusion, changing you. And therefore, it is kind of dicey, right? Because we play around with it. But the question is, how committed are we to the idea that it could utterly change who we are, change our conditioning, change our attachment, our clinging to that illusion that Alden was talking about. So here's what the Buddha said, and I'm just I'm just paraphrasing because it's like it is a kind of funny passage, but I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly. But he said essentially, if you could just practice mindfulness all the time for 1 month, you would become awake and enlightened. Okay, so then he said, but if you could just do it for a week, if you could just practice mindfulness for 1 week rather than a month, 1 week, all the time, morning, noon, and night, you would wake up. He said, but actually, forget that. If you could just do it for 1 day, 24 hours in the week, moment by moment by moment by moment, you'd wake up. I think he ended with the day. I don't remember. But it is funny because he goes down the line. So we're talking about something, right, that could radically change us. So it occurs to me that we each have to begin. Even Andrea has to begin. Teresa, we each have to begin with this profound question, and not allowing the ego to jump in and say, well, yeah, well, right. I mean, we begin with this profound question, do I want to change? That's the question. I think that's the question. It's not like, do I want to change for the better, or do I want to change for the, or the worse, or do I want to, change for the fun? Is there something inside that can ask the question, do I want to change? And as I said, I was really astounded that my friend Tom just said yes. Do I want to change, number one? Because if I do, then the question is, am I willing to put this into that extraordinary aspiration of developing mindfulness all the time? All the time. Morning, noon, and night. Now, can you feel a resistance to being mindful morning, noon, and night? I mean, I can. Can you? I mean, I mean, it seems to me that the ego part wants no part of that at all. Because what the hell does it do? I mean, if you're insisting that you're going to be conscious every moment, what about the little part that lives, kind of like survives in the cracks? All right, survives in those little areas, where it gets kind of like squirrely, and I get to be angry, I get to be greedy, I get to be whatever. I mean, it doesn't have any space. How can it live? It's like how can it survive if it's not getting the juice of those unconscious moments? So mindfulness starves the ego. That's terrible. It starves it. Well, who the hell wants to starve their little ego? I don't. I mean, and as I said, I really kind of experienced that very strongly with my, conscious blink. I think that I'm not going to become real famous on that conscious blink, am I, right? Do you think? I thought we'd make some money for Long Beach meditation. But I wanted to suggest to you that I really, it was really helpful. It tremendously helped me to have certainly compassion again. Compassion for this little self that is afraid, right, of consciousness. This little part that is afraid of something just relentlessly being conscious. Because it needs corners. It needs places to hide, to squirrel around, And if the light is just shining and shining and shining, where the hell do you hide? Where do you go? And that's what mindfulness is. So, I don't have anything else to say.